This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
And welcome back to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Zach Spencer, and joining me in studio is Dr. Ted Venema from NexGen Hearing. And we're talking about, on this show, a kind of a recap of a previous show we did of all the different representatives from the different hearing aid companies. Now, what's the overarching 30,000-foot message you want people to get from this? What do you want to say? The tech is out there to help you?
The tech is out there to help, and there is absolutely no reason to put it off anymore. Hearing tests are free, and even if you walk out of an office without buying hearing aids, you'll walk out with information about your hearing loss and what the degree is, what pitches it's at, what that means for hearing speech, what kind of problems. You'll understand the reasons why, WHY, how come you experience the various problems in communication and conversation. You'll walk out better informed, and that's really one of the best currencies you can buy.
So our next guest we had on previously is Janet Clark. So tell us a little bit about her and her business and the company she represents.
Janet Clark hails originally from New Zealand, and she's chosen to live up into the pink country of Canada. And she works for Phonak and has for I'd say the past 5 to 7 years. And she's does internal support for audiology and internal customer support for Phonak, which is a Mississauga. In Canada, they're based in Mississauga, Ontario.
So we had a great conversation with Janet Clark, and here's a segment of that.
The last one was published in 2015, Market Track 9, and that showed that people that don't wear hearing aids, two of the sort of highest things that would draw them to consider a hearing aid were things like rechargeable batteries or the ability to easily charge their hearing aids. Because sometimes it's not just dexterity, it's also visual acuity problems. You know, to be able to see which way round the battery goes in a hearing aid.
And they're tiny, right? The batteries for hearing aids.
They can be.
Yeah.
They absolutely can be. Yep. And, you know, the thing is, Phonak was maybe not the first company with a rechargeable, but we were the first with lithium ion. And there's a reason for that, because what we wanted to do was make sure that when we did bring a rechargeable battery product to market, it was something that was practical. So it needed to have a charge that charged quickly. It needed to have a rechargeable battery that was light and small, because people want their devices to be very small. And it also needed to provide, you know, sort of hearing and listening and all the things that the hearing aids can give you for at least 24 hours on a full charge. Because the last thing someone wants is the hearing aid battery to die in the middle of a meeting or a really important conversation.
So what happens with these when they're charging? They come out of your ear, and they go in a cradle? Is that how it works?
Yeah, actually, they've been very smart in how they've done this. So the charging, if you want to call it a cradle, is actually a little hearing aid case. So it's the case that people usually get to keep their hearing aids in. And what they've done is they've developed this case that you can plug it into an outlet, and then you can close the lid of the case, and built into the lid of the case is also a desiccating pellet. So it can be drying out the hearing aids at the same time it's charging them. And then for people who might like to, say, go hiking or go traveling in places where there might not be reliable access to power, there is a power pack that you can attach to the bottom of the charging case. And when that power pack has been fully charged, you can get 7 full days of charging for your hearing aids without needing access to any power outlet.
So if you go camping or you go hunting or something and you're off the grid, you still have your ability to hear. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and then there's also a tiny little charging unit. So say you wanted something discreet at the office to just top up the charge of your hearing aids, you could have that too. So they've really tried to think of everything that makes life kind of simple and keeps these things ticking.
Now, one of the things I always think about when I take batteries out of a device and I replace them with new batteries, you're supposed to take those used batteries to a recycling depot and have them looked after. A lot of times, though, they just get chucked in the garbage, right? So this is obviously, you're eliminating that garbage problem, right?
Yeah, and it certainly is an environmentally friendly option because normally I think with a regular hearing aid, you might go through 100 batteries per year per hearing aid. That's a lot of product that you're having to dispose safely of. And as you say, if someone's caught in a hurry, they tend to go in the regular garbage instead of being recycled.
Janet, can I ask you, how does the lithium rechargeable battery differ from, let's say, a competitor's rechargeable battery system?
It depends what they use. So I think there is now one other that is using lithium ion, but in the past, I think it's either been nickel metal hydride or silver oxide. Some of them take longer, and then you don't get as long a charge. And the other reason that, for example, Phonak went with the lithium ion is that it's a very commonly used form of rechargeable battery. So plenty of suppliers. We're not going to run into the risk of suddenly not having a sole supplier for a particular rechargeable battery. So I think anyone nowadays, if they looked around their home between their iPads and their smartphones, have plenty of products using lithium-ion technology already.
In the research that you've done, how long do people keep a hearing aid in? So you obviously the goal was to make sure they could go through the day, right?
Yes. And so what happened when we were planning on launching these products, they actually did some pilot studies in France and in the US and had hundreds of these products out on patients' ears. And then from the data logging, because we can actually log what programs devices are in, how long they're worn, they found the average use case in most instances was at least 12 hours. So we knew we had plenty of charge left in these devices. Even including, for example, because nowadays people like to stream, media or music or, their cell phones through to their hearing aids, and they can still accommodate that, plus have, the use of the hearing aid itself. So, they were very thrilled with the results.
What is AutoSense OS?
Great question. I think one of the philosophies of Phonak has to try and simplify the life of people that are wearing our products, because there are enough challenges having hearing loss, and we don't want to add to them with the technology that we're supplying. So Phonak has been committed for a long time to sort of automating some of the program changes. Dr. Venema can attest to the fact we've had multi-memory hearing aids for a long time now.
For sure.
But when people wearing hearing aids are in a particular environment, if they're very engaged in that environment, they can sometimes forget to change the program to get a better feature set to match the acoustic environment they're in. So the first automatic program that Phonak brought out was way back in 1999, and it was a hard switch. So you were either in one program, and when the hearing aid determined that the acoustic environment had changed, it would switch you to another one. Well, we've now got, I've lost count of the number of iterations. So now with AutoSense OS, we actually have an intelligent operating system. That's what the OS stands for.
Well, I see here in your literature 200 distinct settings.
At least.
Yeah.
So what this product is doing is it's, for example, in our V90 series, our premium products, there are 7 base programs in this automatic setting. And what the hearing aid does is it analyzes the acoustic environments and then virtually real time will blend proportions of those programs to come up with a feature set that best matches the acoustic environment the person is in. So they don't have to worry about changing their hearing aid programs. And it's taken it up a notch. So, for example, very challenging listening environments and acoustic environments like a car, where you've got reverberation and road noise. And often in automatic hearing aids, it's thought, this is noisy, let's activate a directional microphone, which focuses the hearing aid microphones to the front, not to the side or to the back where your passengers may be. And in this instance, this hearing aid will actually keep it in an omni setting. It will reduce the low-level road noise, and it does all that automatically without anyone having to do that.
Our thanks to Janet Clark from Phonak for coming on the show, and we're doing something kind of fun this time around with Dr. Ted Venema. We're looking back at a previous show where we had all of the experts on from the different hearing aid manufacturers, and we still have Victoria McLeod to come up. So, Dr. Ted, when you have somebody that comes in and they have some hearing loss. These different companies offer different kind of scopes of hearing assistance. So somebody that maybe works in an office would have different requirements than someone who's retired and just has their spouse to deal with, right?
Yeah. All hearing aid manufacturers, because they're so competitive, you can't really say that one manufacturer is better than the other manufacturer. Although they have certain stripes or certain colors. Oticon is really big on handling very difficult, busy noise listening situations. Phonak is very good at its microphones, picking up sound in the direction you want to hear. Okay? And resound
when you would have somebody come into an office, you would say, what do you do?
Yes.
And what's your lifestyle?
What's your occupation? What do you do? And also, all manufacturers build gold, silver, and bronze level hearing aids. It's just like medals in the Olympics. I mean, lower tiered, middle tier, and high tier hearing aids.
But you can still get some great results with the bronze, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why it's good news for the consumer to think he or she doesn't have to necessarily buy all the things with all the bells and whistles. Because just like computers, I'm looking at a laptop sitting here in front of me. Years ago, it cost more and it had less power.
Yeah.
Today, they cost, a few $100, and the processing speed is triple what they used to be 5 years ago. So same thing with hearing aids.
Your phone in your pocket could land the lunar lander from the Apollo missions, right?
It's getting that way.
Yep.
And hearing aids today do wake you up in the morning and make coffee for you. No, I'm just teasing.
but not far off.
Not far off, but they do handle difficult listening situations.
So when you go into a NexGen Hearing location, how many lines? We've got 3 representatives on this show. How many lines do you typically have?
Oh, I'm going to say 5.
Yeah.
When I ran a shop at NexGen, I dealt with Resound, Oticon, Phonak, Unitron, and Siemens.
And then they all have sublines.
Yep.
Inside those.
Inside those, they'll all offer various models of hearing aids. So each manufacturer of those 7 big players that I've mentioned before, NexGen deals with most of them. I'd say 5 of the 7. And each of those manufacturers makes lots of different models of hearing aids. Think of Toyota. Think of Honda. Those are the big companies. And now what models of cars does Toyota make? What models of cars does Honda make? It's the same in hearing aids.
Well, we're going to talk a bit more about the company called Resound, right? With Victoria McLeod, our next guest on NexGen Hearing here on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.